Lesson 7.6 is on renaming fractions as mixed numbers, and this will be probably the most challenging lesson so far for Chapter 7. Just to decipher between the two, 14 thirds would be just considered what they call a fraction. I also am naming that as improper fraction because there's a larger number for the numerator than for the denominator. And then over here we have mixed numbers, which will have a whole number and a fraction, and we call that mixed because it has the whole number and a fraction. So my first example is taking 1 3/4, which is a mixed number, and changing it into a fraction. So the kids have to know how many fourths equal a whole. And they'll say 4/4 equals my 1 whole, plus my fraction of 3/4 gives me my final fraction of 7/4. So this is an improper fraction, or just a fraction is what GoMath is calling it. Another example, 1 4/5. Again, look at the denominator to tell how many would be a whole. 5/5 is a whole, plus the fraction that's left is 4/5, and that equals 9/5 as an improper fraction, or just a fraction. One more example now, having more than one whole. Still looking at my denominator, I see that 5/5 gives me 1 whole, but I needed 2. So I'm going to do another 5/5 so that I have my whole, plus the fraction that's left. And really stress that they need to be adding the numerators, that it's fifth size pieces for the denominator, and you don't change that. So 5 plus 5 plus 4 is 14 fifth sized pieces, and that's now renamed as a fraction. Now switching over to the other way, looking at a fraction and wanting to change it into a mixed number, I'm going to try to take out as many wholes as I can. So 4/4 I know is 1 whole. I'm not to 13 yet, so I'm going to keep going with another 4/4, which is a whole. 4 plus 4 is 8. Now I need to ask myself, can I put another whole in? I know 4/4 plus 4/4 plus another 4/4 gets me 12. Well, I just need one more then, and so I have 1/4. Now looking at that, I have 1, 2, 3 wholes, and then I have a little leftover of 1/4. So my mixed number is 3 1/4. Another example, 9/5. I'm going to take out a whole. Looking at the denominator, 5/5 is 1 whole. If I did another whole, that would get me to 10/5, but I only have 9, so I know I can't take another whole out. So I know 5/5 plus the 4/5 gets me my 9/5. Now again, I'm trying to make this a mixed number, so I say, okay, I have 1 whole, and then I have a leftover of 4/5. So this is my mixed number. One more. 10/15, noticing that 10/10 would be a whole. If I did 2 of these, that would get me to 20/10, and that's too much. So I know that 10/10 plus 5/10 gets me my fraction that I have up there, and so I have 1 whole, and then my leftover is 5/10.